Okay, hi everybody, it's Dr. Lisa Ann Homick from Homick Advanced Chiropractic and also Brain Sense Telehealth Self-Discovery Sessions. And this is the YouTube channel, Brain Snob. And I want everybody to be a brain snob. It's not an insult, it's a high compliment. It means you know enough about your brain to give yourself amazing life experiences. We need your full participation in the world. You cannot do that with a fatigued, exhausted brain. So I am a brain-based chiropractor. I teach people that the brain and spinal cord are the masters of the body. Brain first, body follows. The spinal bones are my access points to your brain. That's why I adjust the spine. When somebody receives a chiropractic adjustment, we are stimulating brain activity. And I want to free your brain up from overactive responses. The fight or flight response can become too overwhelming to your body. And if we don't calm that down, you won't be able to have replenishing and rebuilding, which is our big goal. We want your body to replenish itself and rebuild itself, but it needs help from us because you may think your innate intelligence is on the back burner on autopilot. It is, but we've got to give back to the body because it works so hard for us, but we do have to do the right things. I also teach people how to dissect their own brains without cutting into them. That's interesting, right? I teach people how to understand the three major brain areas so they can understand why are their bodies doing things. I mean, the body and the brain does everything purposefully. Everything is either in a protective state or a rebuilding, replenishing state. And if we understand that, it gives you great confidence. Great confidence. Today's episode, I want to talk about the excellent conditioning of anxiety. I'm being sarcastic because it's not excellent, but there is a lot of conditioning, I think, that makes people not want to, but people feel stuck in anxiety. We call it a disorder. I went to WebMD just to see what's going on in the world of anxiety, and it's described as a disorder. And I think we're on the wrong track when we look at it negatively. And I want to kind of reverse our thinking and offer a different option. But do you remember your anxiety? Well, too bad, because if you do, you're adding more fuel to the fire. I don't think we should be going into depth, reliving our anxiety episodes only to neutralize them and use them as an educational tool. Because my goal as a chiropractor is to help you grow your talents every day. I don't want you to be the same as you were yesterday. I want you to grow. And that growth means you are looking at your life every day as an adventure and that you are building upon your talents every day. So you're growing your talent when I mean growth as part of your goal. I think I've done at least 2 anxiety YouTube videos. I'm going to dig them out and put them in the show notes here, but I do mention David Hanscom in one of the videos, I do believe, because he has a great educational viewpoint on anxiety, and he says don't talk about your pain. If you remember his book Back in Control, don't talk about your pain. Don't talk about your pain all the time. It's just going to help that cycle. You're going to keep reliving it. You're going to keep getting that fight or flight process going. But same thing with your anxiety. Don't be talking about your anxiety, and don't rehash it all the time, because you know how you feel. You don't like it, and we don't want you to feel. So if you Google the word anxiety, just anxiety alone, tons and tons and tons of stuff. So I went to WebMD Not my favorite site. I think it's very generic. It's very, well, I'm just going to say not my favorite site. So it does talk about anxiety, different types of anxiety, social anxiety, panic attacks, things like that, and what causes them, whether it's childhood trauma, like a post-traumatic episode, like a car accident, things like that. And then talks about the ways to treat anxiety. Now, treat is a word I don't like, and maybe I'll explain that in the next few minutes, but we don't treat anxiety. We should learn from it. I agree with that. So how do they treat it on WebMD? Well, with medicine, of course, and there's a whole slew of drugs, an Easter basket of drugs. There's anti-anxiety drugs, there's depression drugs, there's tranquilizers, there's anti-seizure medications, all used for anxiety. So quite a plethora of chemicals and medications. There's also different therapies, as we can describe, cognitive behavioral therapy and different therapies in that realm. Talk therapy, different things you can practice, relaxation techniques, and they're not bad either. That's fine. And then there's a little snippet on diet. And for some anxiety episodes, I would also consider anemia, B12 anemia or iron anemia, because you can have similar anxiety feelings when you've got anemia, or you're not breaking down your food properly and you aren't getting enough oxygen to your cells because of different nutritional problems. So that's another avenue that everybody should understand and take advantage of, because you got to have good nutrition. Your body is not going to work on fumes, an empty gas tank, no way. So always the nutritional avenue is just as important. Now, everybody has anxiety. Everybody. You may not talk about it, you may not notice it, or you may deal with it just fine, or you may feel paralyzed by it, but everybody has anxiety because they have a brain. You have a brain. And your brain is just responding to your environment. And it's appropriate, although we don't like it because it can get out of control. It can be overwhelming. Now, I had a panic attack on a plane once, decades ago. And I'm not going to go into the details, but I remember it today in a neutral manner, and I clearly knew why at that time in my life. And I've also had a lot of anxiety in the last 3 years, without going into detail, but I knew why. I can tell you why. I'm not going to, but I knew why I had each episode, and I took care of it. Took care of it, that's just another way to say I just understood the body response and helped myself get through the process. Sometimes I took care of it well, sometimes I took care of it poorly. Another story, but it's the learning process. I don't know if I can help others with their anxiety, because everybody's so individualized, everybody's so unique, everybody's so special, everybody has a different life story, and that's okay. That's okay. So I can't help other people. I can share the journey with you. I can walk the walk with you. And here's why. Because I do know the 4 functional levels of the nervous system. I can trace my anxiety episodes through each level of my own experience and help myself, help me, myself, and I, get through the situation. And it doesn't go away. Anxiety does not go away, and I'm only saying that because it's a brain activity. It is the brain responding to environmental events affecting your life. Your brain perceives it and goes into action. You can't predict when stressful events are going to occur in your life, but you can lead your brain through the event. That may sound kind of strange to say. We can't control what happens to us. You know that saying. You can't control what happens to you, but you can decide your reaction. Same thing, similar with anxiety. You can lead your brain through the event. If you don't understand the process, it takes a little practice. And you can, like I said, a learning opportunity. You can teach yourself about how your body is responding, reacting, processing. If you understand the 4 functional levels of the nervous system, you can be, you can do things to help yourself get through the levels, get through the stages, the fight or flight stage and the replenishing, rebuilding stage. You can do the things that work in sync with your brain and body. And if you don't understand the process, you're always going to feel like a victim. You're always going to feel like you're at the mercy of the environment, and you're always going to feel stuck. And I don't want to see anybody feeling stuck. I don't want people to be dreading the next moment, the next anxiety, the next anxious episode. When you have that dread, that's the stuckness of your fight or flight response. So fight or flight is good. We want it. It's a survival mechanism, but we don't want it to hang on too long. It should only be a short and sweet happening in your brain. So I don't want you to feel the dread. I don't want you to feel stuck. Now, of course, I can't give you quick answers here on this video. There's no top 10 tips for anxiety. And if I gave you a quick answer, that would belittle your brain, because your brain does everything for a reason. It's purposeful. I don't want to belittle your intelligence, because you've got your own experiences that matter and your life story that matters. And I don't want to belittle that by saying, oh, you just got to do 1, 2, and 3 and you're done. That's just, it's not fair to you, and it's not right. I don't want to continue the myth that anxiety is a disorder. It's called a disorder. The psychiatric manual of diagnoses calls it a disorder, because we like to name things and we like to label everything, good or bad. And sometimes when we say this is bad, we tend to think, oh, our bodies make a mistake, or it's an error. But everything our brain does is purposeful. Everything the brain does is correct for the situation. We can reframe the situation, and we can lead ourselves, we can lead our brain through the situation. So I don't want to call anxiety a disorder. It's just a happening, because life happens. We're human. Whether it's an injury, we injure ourselves from time to time. It just happens, and we help ourselves through it with chiropractic, nutrition, and our thinking. There are ways to help ourselves through these situations, and my goal here is to help you benefit from knowledge of how the brain works. What you can do, here's what you can do. You can invite me into your story. You can share your story with me. Because everybody's different. How you arrived at this point in time, it matters. And it's a story, and it's an important story. Every nervous system is primed differently. So I can get to know your nervous system by how you are telling me your story. And that's the valuable part of relationships, because you can bounce off your ideas and your feelings another person can listen to you and take in the story, and help you organize how you're feeling about it, and how you want to relate to it, and how you want to do things to help yourself. Every nervous system is primed differently because of your past experiences. You can rate your functioning at each of the 4 levels. You can self-rate and go from there and come up with a plan of how you want to handle things in the future. You have the ability to influence your brain's perceptions. So as your body is unique, as your brain is unique, your decisions are just as unique, because you can base your decisions on your experiences. And sometimes you may feel a little bit intrepid because you are imagining the experience you want, and your brain can only respond to the experiences it's already had in the past. And that's called the new learning. And that's where we throw in the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex meaning the most new part of our brains in evolutionary history. But your prefrontal cortex helps you solve problems. And we shouldn't say solve problems, because problems, that's negative connotation here. Your prefrontal cortex is going to be the decision making for your creativity, so you can introduce new things into your life. New learning is always awkward. Remember how you tried to ride a bike? Very awkward. You were shaking back and forth. You weren't trusting your balance. If you've ever tried to play a musical instrument, you're awkward. You're fumbling around. That's called new learning. So as awkward as it is, it's exciting, and it's in a positive forward direction. If you've ever tried to take on a new sport or teach yourself something, whether it's a hobby, anything where your body is doing something different, you have to be more meticulous with your motor control of your hands, or any kind of sport where you've got to be quick on your feet. That's new learning, and that's exciting. But you do feel goofy during those early learning stages, but that's good. Let's look at that as a good thing. So you've got the ability to influence your brain's perceptions and how to respond to the brain's perceptions. That is the just amazing part of you being you, living in the body that you have. Also, for anxiety, we're not going to forget the other things. Yes, your sleep is important. You've got to have proper sleep so your brain is ready for what you throw at it every day. Also nutrition, also chiropractic, and a routine of chiropractic, because stress is never taking a day off. And all these good things you do for yourself habitually, they're going to prep you for the future events, the future stresses, the future injuries. What we're doing today preps us for anything that's going to come our way tomorrow. I want you to be able to lead your brain through it. It's very possible. It's just learning and taking in everything as a learning opportunity. My conclusion here is about anxiety. I don't want you to feel like you're programmed into this repetitive state that's not productive for you. That doesn't make you feel like you're a better person today, and you've built upon your talents. Because I do want you to look at each day as a wonderful adventure, and that you are that positive ripple effect in your community. So the ending portion of my video here is understand your brain. Even if you have anxiety, even if you're anxious about something, understand what your brain is doing for you so you can give back. So you can give back to your brain. You can lead your brain through the event. If that sounds interesting to you, then call me up. Let's do some brain sense telehealth self-discovery sessions. If you live locally, get chiropractic care, of course. You've take care of your brain so that your brain takes care of you. Brain first, body follows. And look for the next video. CreatePurpose.com is the blog. I just revamped my new member orientation video. Watch that as well. Check out the podcasts on the Anchor FM app. That is not video, but podcasting. So different topics on each one. And hit the like button, so on and so forth. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. And look for the next video.